This is a modern fable of the big city. It's about a swinging bachelor with a problem. His boss.
I'm sorry, Peter. I believe in married executives. No marriage, no promotion.
He shared this problem with his friend, a hat-check girl.
It's too bad you can't do what I do to protect myself in this place.
What's that?
Pretend you're married.
And did she give him an idea?
Yeah. Greta, you have given me the solution to my problem. A make-believe wife. That's the answer for my boss.
Peter, you must be out of your mind.
No, Greta, I mean it. I want you to be my wife. Occasionally.
So she went on salary as his occasional wife. And they set up housekeeping. Peter in his apartment on the 7th floor, and Greta in her apartment on the 9th floor. To the lasting confusion of the fellow in between. After a long overtime work session, two businessmen pause for a little pick-me-up before heading home. Not these two, these two. Whereupon businessman A strikes terror in the heart of businessman B.
Say, Peter, isn't that your wife? Yes, sir. That certainly looks like Greta, all right. Hi there, honey. Well, what's she doing here with another man? Dancing, it looks like. I know she's dancing. My question is why? Why? Well, because she likes to dance, and I don't. I thought you loved to dance. I've seen you dance like a whirling dervish. Yes, sir. Well, that was when I was much younger. Lately, I don't whirl so good. I insisted she go dancing with my old pal, Jim. Is a friend of yours? Oh, yes, sir. Very trustworthy. Hi, Jim. Hi, boy. I don't know, Peter. Is that the way she spends her time while you're at the office? On dancing dates? Well, it's a lot cheaper than going stag.
Hello, Greta.
Hello, Mr. Brahm. Mr. Brahm.
Hi, honey. I was just explaining to Mr. Brahms how I gave you permission to go dancing with my old pal, Jim. Hi, Jim. How's the boy? Hope you're taking good care of my wife.
Pretty funny, huh, Jim? Well, we've got to get going. Nice to see you again, Mr. Brahm. Jim, I know that certainly must seem peculiar, but there is a good explanation. Jim? Jim?
Ralph. The name's Ralph.
Lovely fella, Jim. Salt of the earth and all that.
Peter, I disapprove. It doesn't look right for a woman to be out in public with a man who isn't her husband.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, sir. I'll take that up with Greta and Jim.
Don't take it up. Take care of it.
Sir, no disrespect intended, but don't you feel that what an employee does after business hours is really his own business,
No. I have to get home, but I think we should pursue this further. I'll see you in my office, first thing in the morning.
But, sir, now, I feel...
In my office, 9 o'clock, man to man, clear?
Sir, that's an example of why it's so easy to work for you. You make everything so crystal clear.
Just be there.
Yes, sir.
The first rule of nature is survival. Will this young man break that old rule?
Peter.
Greta.
That's me.
Don't you believe in privacy?
Oh, sure. There.
It's funny.
Listen, I really came down to tell you how sorry I am about tonight.
Well, that wasn't your fault.
Oh, what a rotten break going to the one place where you and Brahm showed up.
Tell me about it.
Well, what did he say?
He said it doesn't look right for a married woman to appear in public with a man who's not her husband.
Oh, not a very radical sentiment. Are you in trouble?
Well, he wasn't too thrilled about Jim.
Ralph!
Ralph. Brahms wants to see me in the morning, but I can handle him.
How?
Well, I'll just tell him we had a little trouble, but everything's okay now.
Peter, that doesn't sound too convincing.
Oh, sure. He'll be like father to me, and I'll be like a son to him, and the next thing you know, I'll just have him eaten out of my hand.
Don't think you can pull the wool over my eyes.
I wouldn't try to do that, sir.
And don't try to soft soap me.
No, sir.
Now, this is serious. Here's the way I analyze the situation. What are you standing up for?
I was just showing respect for my elders.
If you want to show me respect, sit down and listen.
Yes, sir.
As I analyze the situation, marriage is a two-way proposition. And when you stretch that two-way proposition beyond its normal limits, you have...
A two-way stretch.
You have potential danger. Now, I admit that Greta dating another man with your permission is better than Greta dating another man without your permission.
Well, there's really nothing wrong.
But it certainly indicates a certain drifting apart. Do you follow me?
Yes, sir, but...
Now, you and Greta may not realize it, but the bonds of your relationship are weakening.
Well, I appreciate your concern, Mr. Brahms, but...
You have to nip it in the bud before it poisons your entire marital flower.
Well, Mr. Brahms, our marital flower is fine.
Ask me how.
How what?
How you nip it in the bud.
How do you nip it in the bud?
You nip it in the bud by consulting a marriage counselor.
Oh, we can't do that.
Why not?
Well, I mean, we can do that, but it's not really necessary to do that.
You're wrong, my boy. Take it from a man who's been successfully married for 27 years. You and Greta need a marriage counselor, and you need one now.
Well, you may be right, Mr. Brahms. I'll talk it over with Greta.
Why do you have to talk it over with her when you just talked it over with me? Or don't you think I have your best interests at heart?
Well, of course, Mr. Brahms.
For your information, I feel like a father towards you.
Well, and I feel like a son towards you, but...
Don't give me any buts, and stand up when I'm talking to you. Don't you have any respect for your elders? Now, are you going to slap my fatherly advice in the face? Or are you and Greta going to see a marriage counselor and have him report back to me?
Greta and I are going to see a marriage counselor and have him report back to you.
It doesn't make sense. How can we go to a marriage counselor when we're not married?
Well, we'll simply say that we're married and make up a big story about how miserable we are.
Well, that ought to be easy.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's not going to be easy at all. Look, we'd better get our story straight. Let's rehearse it.
Oh, Peter, come on.
Greta, we got to do it.
All right, we'll give it a try.
Okay. Hello, marriage counselor.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher. What seems to be your problem?
Well, we're miserable.
Why?
Why? We're constantly fighting.
About what?
Well, we have nothing in common. We sit home night after night, and we never talk to each other.
But you just said you were constantly fighting.
Well, we are. We never talk to each other except when we're constantly fighting.
Uh-huh. I trapped you.
You did not.
I did, too. I caught you in a blatant contradiction.
Because I have such a miserable marriage, I'm confused.
Peter, it will not work. A real marriage counselor would spot us as phonies in 2 minutes.
You're right. You're right. What am I going to do?
You just lied to a different person. Instead of lying to the marriage counselor, you lied to Mr. Brahms.
You mean not go to a marriage counselor but say that we did?
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to report to Brahms.
You report to Mr. Brahms. He won't check up on you. Not if you tell him how it saved our marriage and we're blissfully happy. Oh, you know Mr. Brahms. He'll be too busy taking vows for suggesting it.
And thanks to you, sir, our marital flower is back in full bloom.
From one visit to a marriage counselor?
Well, it was a long visit. We were there for hours, just dumping our raw emotions onto the table and thrashing them out in a spirit of give and take.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, you might say that. But the counselor was a wonderful and wise man. Almost as wonderful and wise as the man who suggested we go to him.
Well, all I did was give a gentle push in the right direction.
Yes, but that was a gentle push that changed the course of 2 entire lives.
Well, probably you're right.
Mr. Brahms, I know that modesty is one of your greatest virtues, but in this case, I feel obliged to tell you that Greta and I are forever in your debt.
Nonsense, my boy. I'm only too glad to be of any help. After all, that's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you, sir, and bless you.
Oh, it was nothing. You go ahead and get back to work. Freddie, you're late.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You planning a trip on company time?
No, sir. Oh, this is all she let me take with me.
She? Who's she?
Evie, my wife. We just had a lover's quarrel.
Oh.
Yeah, she told me she hates my guts and just threw me out of the house.
I see. Put down the suitcase and then come in my office. Peter?
Yes, sir?
You come too. First you, now him.
Mr. Brahms, wouldn't you rather discuss this with Freddie in private?
No. Well, now, what am I running here? A corporation or a home for wayward husbands?
Well, sir, I
A corporation, Freddie. A corporation that likes its employees to be happily married.
Oh, I know that, sir. Yeah, and I told it to Evie, too, only she didn't care. She just restated the position that she hates my guts and threw me out of the house.
Peter?
Yes, sir.
Peter, I want you to arrange a meeting for Fred and Evie with your marriage counselor.
Huh?
What's the matter? Don't you want your buddy to save his marriage, too?
Oh, yes, of course. It's just that it was very personal. I'd rather not interfere.
Nonsense. If our State Department felt that way, where would the world be today?
Evie wouldn't go to a marriage counselor. She's in too deep.
In what?
In hating my guts.
Well, I guess you don't need me anymore. I think I'll get back to work.
Peter!
Huh?
We can do it without her knowledge. What you do is you have Greta invite Evie over to your apartment for tea and sympathy. And have the marriage counselor there, too. And then Freddie and I will drop in unexpectedly, and we'll all save the marriage together.
Well, sir,
That's an order. Arranged at 8 o'clock this evening.
This evening tonight?
That's what he said, Peter. This evening, tonight. The time is 5:30 that afternoon. 2.5 hours before 8 o'clock that evening. 2.5 hours before certain disaster.
Greta, you home?
In the living room.
Didn't you give yourself a manicure last night?
That was finger. This is toe.
Oh. Did you ever get a hold of Evie?
She'll be at your apartment tonight at 8 o'clock. What'd you do about the marriage counselor?
What did you think I did?
Nothing?
Wrong. I had a great idea, and it took me all day to find out it wouldn't work.
There. What was your great idea?
Well, let me put it this way. In all the yellow pages of the New York phone book, there are no bribable marriage counselors.
How about offering a bribe to a friend?
A friend?
It's a great idea. But who?
Mr. Al?
Funny.
Listen, I only lay the grand design. I leave the details to the underlings.
Well, let's see. The guy that we'd need to do this job would have to be middle-aged, fairly well-educated, and a pretty good actor.
How about Cary Grant?
I think I got it. It's a long shot, but it might just work.
You definitely won't consider Cary Grant?
I'll get about 2 hours before the firing squad arrives.
I'm sorry. Who's your long shot?
My Uncle Harry. My infamous Uncle Harry.
Who is your infamous Uncle Harry?
He's my mother's first cousin. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's just kooky enough to do it. He was a beatnik when it was still called Bohemian.
Do you think he could do it?
Well, he's definitely an expert on marriage.
Oh?
Yeah, he's been married 6 times. Let's try it. I mean, what do we got to lose?
You're a seasonal migratory worker, being crushed under the relentless thumbs of the heartless bosses.
Hi, Uncle Harry. I'd like you to meet my wife, Greta.
Delighted to meet you.
Congratulations on your wedding. To which you and your mother did not see fit to invite me.
Oh, well, it was just a small wedding. Uncle Harry.
Forget it. I don't mind being the black sheep of the family. With that bunch of anti-intellectuals, I consider it an honor.
Look, why don't you let us rectify that? Come on home, have dinner with us tonight.
What are you having?
Anything you like.
It's a deal. What time?
Well, why don't you get yourself cleaned up and come back with us now?
Or you could grab a cab and come over. What's wrong?
I never use cabs. Mechanized lackeys of the ruling classes. Yeah.
How about a bus?
I am still protesting the last raise in fare.
Well, then why don't you just come home with us now?
All right. But remember, I never give wedding presents.
Hi.
Hi. Peter.
Hi, Phil.
Peter?
Oh, Uncle Harry. Could you do us a favor? We got a small problem.
Everybody's got a problem. The question is, do you have an interesting problem?
Yeah, I think it is. You think you could pretend to be a marriage counselor who saves our marriage?
What is that? Some kind of a jet-set parlor game?
Oh, no. It's a way of getting Peter off the hook with his boss.
And what is the boss's occupation?
Manufactures baby food.
Oh, exploiting children. Say no more, I'll do it. Charlene, you can go, but be on time tomorrow or I'll dock you.
At least he's getting cleaner and neater.
I sure hope he can pull this off.
Well, look at it this way. It's only a matter of life or death.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it sure sets my mind at ease. Well, that must be Evie. This is it.
With us, it's always it.
I know. Hello, Evie. How are you holding up? I never felt better in my life. Being separated from Freddie is like getting a 160-pound monkey off my back. Evie, you don't mean that. I know I don't.
Hi, Evie.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your troubles. Oh, make yourself comfortable.
Thank you. It was very nice of you to invite me here tonight. Oh, Nothing, Evie. Well, I appreciate it. I told Freddie I'd get custody of the Christophers. He got the Smithersons and the Fricks.
Well, we don't want to take sides.
After 10 years of marriage, I've got you two and the color TV.
Well, here, have yourself a little drink. It'll cheer you up, Evie.
What's good for a broken heart?
That's easy. Agonizing reappraisal.
Hi, Uncle. Doctor.
That is sweet. Such a transference to call your therapist Uncle.
Well, may I introduce...
Dr. Harry Kazanoff, Ph.D.
And this is Mrs. Freddie Finger. Doctor.
Oh, delighted.
Oh, excuse me, that must be our other guest. Greta, you didn't say anything about having a party.
You didn't?
I didn't? Hello, come in.
Hello, Greta. How are you?
Ron's ready. Oh, what a dirty trick.
Hello, Evelyn.
Hello, Mr. Brahms.
I believe you've already been introduced to this gentleman.
I'm in the midst of buying back my introduction.
Well, that goes double for me.
I'd like you all to meet our good friend and a man to whom we owe a large debt. Dr. Harry Kasanoff,
Ph.D.
Ph.D.
Well, I'm very happy to meet you, Doctor.
So you are the manufacturer.
I've heard a great deal about your success in the field of marriage counseling.
A marriage counselor?
Yes, Evelyn? A marriage counselor.
Well, it's a waste of time.
And a double waste of time for me.
I'm leaving. I refuse to be subjected to this humiliation.
So I agree. I'll walk you.
You will not.
Evie, wait. Doctor, why don't you say something to keep her here?
If you leave, your husband will lose his job, and you will not get your alimony.
Very clever.
Thank you. Now, let's all sit down and discuss this crisis calmly and objectively, as I did with Mr. and Mrs. Christopher.
Yes, Evie.
Now, we'll begin with the husband. Mr. Finger, why do you hate your wife?
Oh, I don't hate my wife. No, I love her with every fiber of my heart and soul.
Well, then...
Oh, I love her, but I don't like her.
And you?
I love him, but I'm not in love with him.
Yeah, you know, I always wondered what that means exactly.
Peter, anyone with an ounce of sensitivity knows...
Remember what the doctor said, darling. The only trouble with our marriage is that you keep opening such a mouth.
He's right. A closed mouth is a happy mouth. Now then...
Listen, why don't we compromise?
Halt! That is exactly where your marriage went off the tracks. The man should never compromise.
Why not?
Because the man should be king.
I think what the doctor means
Peter.
is...
The king! The king of his castle. The king of all he surveys. I'm sorry, girlie, but you're wrong. Instead of giving vent to a lot of chintzy complaints, you should get down on your hands and knees and kiss the ground your husband walks on.
I'd rather die.
You should cook for him and sew for him and do whatever he wants to 24 hours a day because he is your king and you are his slave.
Dr. Kazanoff, don't you think your attitude towards marriage is a bit one-sided?
I think he sounds like something of the 15th century.
And what is wrong with the 15th century, if I may ask? When King Henry VIII of England had trouble with any of his wives, he knew how to handle it.
Sure did. Off with their head.
Watch it, girlie. I never saved the same marriage twice.
It's hard to believe that you saved it once.
Oh, well, you see, our case was different.
I've always operated on the principle that marriage is a two-way proposition.
Stupidity. Sheer stupidity.
I beg your pardon.
But then what can you expect from a manufacturer?
What's wrong with manufacturing?
There's nothing wrong, really. I think we're...
Manufacturers feed off the blood and sweat of the working class.
Is that so? Well, would you like to step outside and repeat that?
Time, Buster.
All right.
Why don't we all step outside and go for ice cream sodas and sort of put the party back on its feet again?
Yeah, how about it, honey? Would you like an ice cream soda?
No,
Why not?
because I don't feel like one with him.
Don't you agree with this manufacturer that marriage is a two-way proposition?
Oh, of course I do.
And do you agree with him, too?
Oh, yes, I always agree with him.
So, if you both agree with him, then you both agree with each other, which makes me wonder why you need a marriage counselor.
You don't. You'll never whatever tiny, trivial problems we have, we can work it out by ourselves.
Evie, do you really think our problems are tiny trivial?
If you say so, darling.
Yeah, say so.
Okay, let's go home.
Yes, dear, whatever you say.
No, whatever you say. No.
Well, Dr. Kasnoff, it looks like you did it again.
Naturally. I never fail.
Do you mean everything you said about marriage was just professional strategy?
Yes, and so was what he said about manufacturers.
Well, he sure had me fooled. Doctor, I salute you.
Don't salute me. Pay me.
Well, just send me the bill.
Thank you. I will. Goodbye.
Oh, he's great. He's great. You know, you should work for me.
The one on the right is Peter Christopher. He is the world's luckiest man.
Oh, boy. I'd sure hate to go through another night like this.
I don't know, I sort of enjoyed it.
Greta, you're sick. You expecting a friend?
Not tonight.
Peter Christopher.
Right, that's me.
And the missus.
That's her.
Mm-hmm.
Woman sign?
No, not particularly. What I had in mind was more like a tip.
Oh! There you go. It's from Uncle Harry.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, kid.
This is your last chance.
Here, take a trip.
I wonder what it's like in the French Riviera this time of the year.
That's a pretty big thank you note.
Dear Peter, had a pretty good time. Figured you ought to get a present for your first wedding, but from now on, you're on your own. I wonder what it is.
Oh, it's obvious. It's peace descending on the tin workers of Bolivia.
Oh.
Wait, there's something on the back.
She doesn't waste anything. It's an old picket sign.